In today's video, I'm going to walk you through my entire meal planning process. I feel like this is something I really perfected over the years, and it's something that I now really enjoy doing. And so I'm going to talk through how I plan our meals, aiming for a £100 budget weekly, how I keep things simple and plan for a mixed vegan and carnivore family, and how I actually choose meals in an efficient, quick way. Before I move into the process itself, I want to mention what motivates me to meal plan. We used to spend an extortionate amount of groceries, and I didn't really realize where our money goes until we started budgeting, which showed us like how much money actually goes to groceries on a yearly basis in our household, and that was honestly shocking. But to be fair, it's not surprising if I consider the fact that we didn't plan ahead, takeaway would creep in, or if we went to shop for ingredients, and especially if you shop hungry, then you end up with a lot more items in your basket than what you would need. We would end up with a lot of food waste. So it was a mess and it was a lot of money. And when I started budgeting, I just realized that groceries is really the area where we can save the most, and it works so well for us now. But beyond the money, the fact that we meal plan, it removes that decision fatigue when 6 p.m. rolls around and I need to feed Cami, and also we are hungry, and the question comes around, what's for dinner? And then we would like, oh my gosh, what we can quickly make before the bedtime routine starts. Having a plan means calmer evenings, less waste, and more time for things that actually matter. So what do we actually plan for in our household, and what are my kind of like criteria for meal planning? But what I like to plan for is our lunches and dinners. And so I plan for 6 lunches and 6 dinners a week, which is realistically the amount of meals we will need, because sometimes, especially over the weekends, we eat out or order takeaway. We are also, just to make it more exciting, we are a mixed diet family. So myself is vegan, my husband is on a regular meat and dairy eater, and our son is vegan, less strict as I am, but at home he eats vegan as well. So the meals I plan need to be flexible. Luckily, my husband likes eating plant-based, so he doesn't mind eating plant-based, but mainly for some of our dinners, I ensure that we may cook some chicken on the side for some of the dishes. So I plan for dishes that are easy to make vegan and a meat version as well. It sounds complex, but really it isn't. I feel like by now we have a really good solution that works for our family. Our weekly grocery budget is around £125. This includes everything though, so it includes food, cleaning products, toiletries, and so on. This may not be the exact amount every week, because usually I rotate the weeks. One week where I have a bigger shop, and then the next week where I try to use up all the ingredients that we already have at home, so £30 plus minus on each side. I also like to plan seasonally as well. Now I feel like I am more motivated with this at the beginning of each season, and sometimes I am more so to eating seasonally than other weeks. Definitely I feel like this autumn, including more of those autumnal nourishing dishes, and just really romanticize and enjoy the season as well. Another reason why I like to do this is offering the fruits and the vegetables and dishes that the season brings, and offer us, teaches Cami as well about the season, and just like an appreciation towards our planet, I think. So what are the things that I consider when I choose our meals? The first thing I do, I take stock in what's in the fridge and what's in the pantry. Usually we have leftover ingredients from the previous week, so I want to make sure that I think about those when I plan the meals, and make sure that they are used up in the next week, so that we don't end up with lots of food waste. I also try to focus on one, usually something that I can just throw together in 20-30 minutes. So this speeds up cooking time, but also minimizing the washing that we have after our lunches and dinners. I also like to include one big dish throughout the week, so that if we have that for dinner, for example, that can be our lunch for the next day. So in this way I already have 2 meals out of the 12. And I also try to repurpose some of the meals. So for example, what I like to do is, if we have pesto pasta type of dish or sauce dish, then maybe I create that or make that sauce separately, and so maybe one day we eat it with pasta, the next day we can eat it with rice. So it's all about saving time, using what we have, and creating less waste, while we aim to keep meals varied and comforting. In terms of where I shop, I find that ordering groceries online on a weekly basis is what works best for our family. And as much as I would like to go to the farmer's market every weekend, I find that at this season of life we don't normally have the time for that. So I end up sourcing it all in one go. The only item that we usually source on different days of the week would be chicken, to ensure that it is the freshest, as it can expire quite quickly. So I like to get them in on the day or the day before. But everything else comes in one go. So let's meal plan. This is the spreadsheet I use to plan our meals, and I mentioned this in a previous video where I talk about time and money saving hacks, that we plan our meals by days, which makes deciding what to cook each day so much easier, because it minimizes the type of dishes that I'm thinking about for that day, so I don't get lost in the endless amount of recipes that I am browsing through, because I know, for example, that for that day I'm only looking for a pasta dish. Also this way it keeps it more interesting throughout the week. We don't always stick to the exact order, but at least I already have plotted meals for the week, and we can just choose whatever we feel like eating, and then obviously what's left is what we are going to eat the next day. It helps me to plan and gives me a structure so that I can plan quick. I get inspiration for recipe ideas from a couple of apps. I like to use the Pickup Lime app, and I also have the Deliciously app. Both of them offer you plant-based meals. What I also like to do, and I think every supermarket usually does, they have a seasonal magazine, and I like to order because they usually give quite nice and interesting ideas of meals that are good for that season. I love browsing through magazines, so I definitely like to use it as an inspiration. Okay, so what's on our meal plan for the week? Today is Friday, so I have just plotted out the meals for the coming week, and our grocery is coming in tomorrow. For Saturday I left that blank, so those are the days when we are actually planning to be out, so I haven't planned any meals for that. And also the grocery order is coming up more so in the evening when we are definitely at home. Then for Sunday, for lunch, I planned pumpkin soup because I actually have a pumpkin at home and we already have all the ingredients. I have pumpkin seeds, I have coconut milk, and it was supposed to be last week's meal which we haven't made, so it's going into our Sunday. Then I put down a pantry shepherd's pie for our dinner on Sunday. We have lots of potatoes left, so that will be a good one. Usually I make this with soya beans, which is something that my husband also likes as like a meat substitute. Pantry shepherd's pie, it's a different take on shepherd's pie, so I chose this from a Pickup Lime app and I'm interested in how it's gonna turn out. It is more with Mexican seasoning, so interested to have that. And then I noted down for Monday that we will have the leftover shepherd's pie for lunch. Then for dinner, the theme is pasta or risotto, so I noted down kale spinach pesto pasta, and this is a perfectly seasonal dish, one that actually we made last week as well. It's from our avocado magazine. Kale, walnuts, they are all in season, so perfect. Then we have for Tuesday, as I said, I'm going to reuse some of the leftover pesto and I'm going to have a pesto and crispy spiced tofu sandwich. Then another recipe from our avocado seasonal magazine is actually a chicken coconut stew. Stews and curries are something that I find that it's quite easy for us to have a meat and a vegan version as well. For example, the actual sauce of the dish is really easy to make. I would start to make the sauce, and once the sauce is done and put together, then I would ask my husband to get half of the sauce out, and he would cook it with his chicken, and I would put tofu in it for me and my son. Then for Wednesday, for lunch, I have a creamy and pea one pot rice, creamy leek one pot rice, which is actually a ChatGPT generated recipe because I didn't know what to do with the leek that we have in the fridge. I wanted just something simple. Lunches are something that we definitely need to keep it simple because we are both working. Although we are working from home, we both have meetings, so I need something that is very quick to make, and so this one looked easy enough and also cuts waste. Then for our dinner, Wednesday is for I have some sort of like protein with veg and grain or potato. So for this week I planned stuffed potato with baked beans, tofu and roasted veg, or I think it will be steamed veg, steamed broccoli and cauliflower. Because we have potato, we have baked beans, oh no, actually baked beans we don't have, so I need to get that in. We have broccoli and we have cauliflower as well. And this recipe actually is something that I back then many years ago I made a video about, because both of us love this dish. We make it with crispy tofu, so it's a perfect one. And usually I can just put the baked potato in the oven much earlier during the day as well, before I would go and pick up our son. So by the time he gets home, the potato is pretty much done. We just need to steam the veg and fry the tofu, and that's it. Then Thursday lunch, I haven't tried before, from Pickup Lime, which is a Merry Meal lentils. Seemed easy enough. We have lots of red lentils at home. I believe I didn't have to order too many extra items for this dish, so that was a good saving, and it looks like it's a quick one to make as well. Then for Thursday dinners is usually nourish balls, noodles or stir fry. Nourish balls I love for the reason because usually there are like lots of different elements in it, which is actually something that makes it just a teeny bit longer to make, but something that usually is easy to feed our toddler with, because it has lots of different things and then he can pick and choose. So those are the best type of things for toddlers, because surely he will find something that he wants to eat. And then Friday lunch, there is a one pot veggie lentil soup on the Pickup Lime app, which is one of our staples. We make that almost every week. Again, potatoes, carrots, lentils, broccoli, they go in, lots of veggie. Nice, we love it. And then like the Friday dinner is a free for all, something fun that we would like to eat. And this one recently, this recipe is something we really like. I actually really like the marinade in the recipe. Another Pickup Lime dish. I feel like we have a lot of the dishes from here. It's a roasted veggie tray baked with sausages and couscous. So this one has cabbage, I believe potatoes, onions, carrots, so lots of different baked roasted vegetables. And another one that's easy to make it vegan and non-vegan as well, because I can just use vegan sausages for ours and then he can make his meaty sausages as well, and it satisfies everyone. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think. So usually as I plan out the meals, I would then look at the recipe and then I would start to add the items into the basket in our online order, and I only add the things that are obviously the things that we don't have in the fridge. This week I really try to keep the budget on the lower end, so actually all the additional veg for the meals that I have planned came out about £44, which is really good for 12 meals. Now on the top of this, we do have some weekly staples that come in. For example, we drink a lot of oat milk because we use it for our coffees. My son drinks it in the morning and in the evening, and a lot of the dishes use oat milk. We usually like stock up on bananas and other fruits as well that we can snack throughout the day, so I ordered in some apples and some grapes as well. And then I also added in some some fruity yogurt, vegan yogurt for my son who likes to have it sometimes after dinner with some raisin. So that took us to about 70 pounds. And then I also had to add in items into our shop, so we are running low on toothpaste, so I added in toothpaste and also a mouthwash. And so I think altogether we ended up with about 80 pounds for this week's meals and stocking up on anything that we are missing from our household, which is quite good. This is obviously on the lower end, and I expect that next week is going to be more expensive. Alright, I think this sums up everything I wanted to share about our meal planning. I hope you found it useful, and it is something that has really works well for our family. And usually this whole meal planning process doesn't take longer than 30 minutes, including placing the order as well, and it is so worth it because throughout the week it saves us time, it saves us money, and just like the decision fatigue, it has been life-changing and it's such a brilliant tool to do. And as a disclaimer, I want to say this is something that works for our family. I appreciate that every family has different rhythms and routines, and I know that we both work from home, so we still have more time to cook at home, whilst for example if I had to commute to work, I would have a different approach on lunches obviously, and a different approach on our dinners as well, because I would have a lot less time with nursery runs and everything by the time we get home. But definitely I would say meal planning has been a game changer for us. If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this one. It's full of practical tips on how to further save money, time and sanity in your everyday life. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.